Welcome back to the channel. Today it is all about D-Generation X. Make some noise! Xbox. Not about D-Generation X, it's about the good old original OG Xbox console.
Xbox, yes. The Xbox is a very highly affordable console to collect for, and today we're going to look at our top 10 most expensive Xbox games. Now, we don't have anything crazy because we don't collect everything for the Xbox, and a lot of the games we have are kind of cheap, but these are the 10 most expensive games that we have.
Yeah, and there may be, this is following the video we did of our PS2 collection, and there were some folks in the comments like, hey, why don't you have this game, or I can't believe you don't have this game, and my reply was like, but maybe we have it on Xbox. So
yes.
You may see some stuff here that you were like, that's why they don't have it on the PS2.
And a lot of people on that PS2 video were like, where's the RPGs? And we're not big RPG guys, so we don't have a lot of those.
Yeah.
So that's why they're not in these videos.
Yeah.
These are the games that we like to play, so that's why they're in our collection. And again, this is not bragging. This is just showing what we have, and maybe you can find it on the wild for super cheap.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So let's jump in.
Number 10, Castlevania Curse of Darkness.
Yes.
Now, this is like that dive of Castlevania kind of getting the 3D realm right. The N64 game, Castlevania 64, I don't think is as horrible as people say, but it was still, it didn't quite feel
yes.
like, and this is where they started kind of making it make a little bit more sense. Don't get me wrong, I still prefer my side-scrolling Castlevania.
100%, but this game is still really cool.
Yeah.
I do like the 3D elements of it, and this game, shockingly, is not that expensive. It's $28.44,
Yeah.
and that's our number 10 most expensive. Like, we have a lot of games. I think we have over 100 games on Xbox, and our number 10 most expensive is less than $30.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because I mean, it's kind of a similar narrative to the PS2 video,
Yes.
but I would even say less.
Way less.
As far as PS2 super affordable to collect for. Obviously, we're highlighting our most expensive games, but Xbox, I feel like, is a little cheaper even. It's a great console, fun console to collect for in a lot of cases. If it's on everything, like from that generation, it most likely plays the best on Xbox. That's not an absolute, so don't kill me in the comment section, but more often than not.
And what's really cool about collecting for the Xbox, and we didn't really mention this in the PS2 video, is some of these games can work on your 360 and then even your Xbox One because of backwards compatibility. So you could get some of these games for kind of cheap and then be able to play it on your modern console. So that's really cool. But Castlevania Curse of Darkness, less than $30, pretty cool game. Now moving on to number 9. Number 9 is The Warriors, based on the movie. This game is kind of pretty good.
Like, it's a Rockstar game.
Yeah, it's a Rockstar game.
It's damn good. Yeah,
I don't hear a lot of people talking about this game, but it's actually pretty fun. And if you're a fan of the movie, I think this game definitely needs to be played. And it's pretty reasonable for price. It's $32, $32.03 in our most expensive games. That's not that bad at all for this. This game is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a great game, and I could be wrong on this, but I want to say this game is mid 40s to $50 on PS2. I think. Yeah. I don't keep up on this stuff like I used to, but it's definitely more expensive on PS2, which is goofy because to me it's the same damn game, and it probably, again, I don't know, I've never done a side-by-side comparison, but it probably plays better on Xbox.
And a lot of people were talking about in the PS2 video that like the PS2 has darker colors, which I've noticed on a lot of games.
Yeah.
The Xbox, I feel like the colors look great, the game usually runs better and plays better, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So the Warriors, about $30, not bad.
Next on the list isn't like the holy grail, but it's still really freaking good. And if you're a fan of Outrun games, Xbox it's got a couple options, but the one we have is Outrun 2. I can't remember the name of the Outrun game. That it's like maybe got a year on it or something.
It's Outrun something, but that one is like way super expensive because it was just super rare.
So Outrun 2, $34.86, a really fun racing game.
Yep.
I don't know enough about the Outrun games. I'm not like an expert, but the ones that I like it on the Genesis. I like this version of the game. I don't know what the differences are between this and the expensive one. I have to assume they're built on a very similar engine.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking too.
So, but I love this game.
I've never played the expensive one. I've only played Outrun 2 and then the other ones on other systems. These games are fun. I like racing games, but I tend to like more arcade racers, but Outrun is still pretty fun. Yeah. It's got a little bit of arcadiness to it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But it's kind of simmy. But $34, that's not bad for this, especially if you're a fan of a racing game on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and Outrun, I get what you're saying. It is an arcade racer. but it doesn't have the goofiness of the type of.
It's kind of serious.
Yeah.
But it is arcadey. Like it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, where we like games like Burnout, where you can blow shit up.
Yeah, where it's just
fuck
like
around.
Woo!
Yeah. So anyway, awesome stuff.
Next up on the list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Nightmares, which is the third in the series of this TMNT games released in this era. These games are pretty good. There are some bugs, but it's like a 3D platform fighting game as the Turtles. I think we played through all three of these on stream a couple years ago. They're pretty fun, but some of the jumps and stuff is a little frustrating.
Yeah, it's just a good co-op beat 'em up. A lot of people remember the old school Ninja Turtles cartoon. This is based off that 2001 series that was out, which in my opinion is the best animated Turtles series. Like, it's a little darker, a little edgier, little more obscure. Not a lot of people talk about that. I think it's because the Turtles kids that grew up with the original series were kind of out of the mix by the time that came out. Yeah. But these games, they're fun. If you're a Turtles fan, you need to play them. Are you going to play them and be like, holy hell, this is so much better than every Turtles game I've ever played?
It's not the best Turtles game, but
they're fun.
They're fun.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, trying to jump in the 3D element, if you watched our streams years ago, there's so many times where we just missed the jumps.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
But the games are fun, especially doing co-op. And I can't, some Xbox, I don't know, can you do up to 4 players? You might be able to, 4 Turtles. That's pretty sick. But this game's only $35.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. I think the other ones are way cheaper too, so you can get a lot of them for maybe less than 50. So that's pretty sick for games. So.
For sure. Number 6 on our list has a near and dear place in my heart.
Me too.
I love this. It's one of the best just co-op games, I think, of the generation. Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Oh, man.
Comes in at $40.78. Now, this was available. I think a lot of people, when they think of this game, they think of it as a GameCube.
Yes.
And I don't know why that is.
I don't know why it is either, but that's what I think of too.
Yeah.
I always think we have it for the GameCube, but
it's weird because the Gauntlet Legends I think of as an N64 game, but it was also on the Dreamcast. Yeah. So, but awesome freaking game. Any way you can play Gauntlet Dark Legacy, highly recommend it. And
especially multiplayer.
And I know people, this is one of those where retro games are getting so expensive. That game is so worth $40.
Yeah.
It's just fun as hell.
Gauntlet Dark Legacy might be my favorite Gauntlet game, period. Mm-hmm. It is so good. And what's nice about it is it's a little bit of a longer game, too.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to beat through it and play it 3-player, and we did multiple streams of it, and we still haven't beaten it. Like, it's like a long game.
It took us so damn long, our friend moved away.
I know. We still haven't beaten it, so now we never can.
Yeah.
But hopefully we get back to it. The Gauntlet games are just pure, simple fun. You don't even have to be a good gamer to enjoy them. You can kind of just button mash, and it's just stupid, but the Gauntlet games, man, they are amazing. And Dark Legacy needs to be played, emulated if you have to. Just get some friends together and play Dark Legacy.
And I do want to say this. Starting with Dark Legacy, banger alert. Okay? Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Everything from that game forward is a freaking ripper, so saddle up for number 5. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Banger alert.
Speaking of rippers and speaking of bangers, the Punisher. He's gonna rip and bang everybody in his way, dude. This game, okay, so everybody talks about the Punisher on the Sega Genesis. That's a very expensive game, and that game is awesome. It's an arcade port. But this is the Punisher in a 3D. It's a new game of it. And this game is so good. This game is amazing. It's brutal. You can do signature kills.
Yeah.
You just go around shooting people. It is a little tough. But once you figure out the way to get health and like all that stuff, then it's a little bit easier.
What is it? That's like the interrogation stuff. It's how you kind of...
It's how, like, if you can interrogate somebody, then you get more health.
Yeah.
But it took us a while to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
We played this on stream. This game is another one that needs to be played. Find a way to play this. And it's only $45, dude. I am shocked it's this low. $45, that's kind of pricey for some people, but I think it's worth it. This game is one of the best from the generation.
And this is more expensive on the PS2 for sure.
Yes.
And you're going to have to help me here. We didn't do any research.
No, we never
this
did.
Per usual. But I'm pretty damn sure we played this when we beat it on the 360 with the disc.
Yeah.
because it's a little easier for us to stream through HDMI. So unless they've changed something, I'm pretty sure the Punisher is backwards compatible with the 360. So
which makes it,
that's another reason for you to grab.
Yeah, for $45, they need to, like, I don't know if remaster is the right word, but it'd be sick if they put out a new Punisher game.
Yeah,
that's like brutal as hell.
Yeah, and this game's fine in its own right. It's not a game you're gonna feel like, oh, this is super dated. It may take you 5 or 10 minutes to kind of get used to it. It's third-person view and all that stuff. But whatever they did for this formula, release the Punisher 2 or whatever the hell you want to call it. But this, dude, you've said everything that needs to be said. But this game, if there is like a must play, if you like the Punisher, dude, this game is rad as hell.
It might be my favorite Xbox game, or it's definitely up there for one of my favorite games of this generation.
It's fun.
Like, it's just fun to watch. The Punisher is just, it's a great game.
Yeah, because we played it 2-player. It's only a 1-player game. We just passed it back and forth. And I remember, like, when it was my turn, I was like, oh, it is? Like, I was just like, dude, let's go.
Dude, and some of the stuff you can do to the people is just like, oh my.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, but it's the Punisher, so it has to be.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the Punisher for hours, so we won't. We'll move on to the next game.
Number 4, gonna get a little flack. A little something's gonna come our way because I know it's not the optimum version of the game because of the fog.
Yes.
That's the real reason, right? The fog? We're talking about Silent Hill 2. But I think there is more content in the Xbox version than the PS2 version,
yes,
I believe.
It's so weird when you research it. We had the PS2 version, but then sold it because that one is crazy expensive. This one on Xbox is only $60. Still kind of pricey, but it's not bad. And I think there's more content in this one, but the PS2 one looks better. And on the internet, people go back and forth about which one they like. I don't quite know because I don't know the Silent Hill games that well. But Silent Hill 2 is a great game, and I played it on the Xbox, and I think it's fine.
Yeah. I have no issues with it. And that's the reason going down a rabbit hole here. We try not having duplicates on various consoles. And unless the game's like completely broken, when I'm trying to get money drummed up to put back into the collection, I'm like, oh shit, that's what the PS2 one's going for? Deuces. That's okay. I'm good with the Xbox one. It's fine. But I know some of the purists out there and whatnot. That's like the Turtles game on this list. We had them all on the GameCube.
We did, but they were going for so much.
And then we found them, all 3, at the same like thrift store, pawn shop, whatever the hell, for Xbox. I'm like, well, I'm selling the GameCube ones. It doesn't matter to me what console I play on.
Because for me, I don't know the games well enough to be like, oh, this one's better. So, and around this era, everything kind of feels the same. So.
Yeah, and it, my favorite console of the era is the PS2, but it doesn't matter to me what I'm playing it on. As long as it works, it's good. So anyway, Silent Hill 2 on the Xbox, just so you guys know, because I didn't say it yet, $61.29, which is a way more lower barrier of entry than what you're going to pay on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a way to play Silent Hill 2 physically and like not emulate it or find a ROM of it, this might be the cheaper way to go, and you can still experience the game. Someone in the comments is going to be like, don't play the Xbox One. Well, if you've never played it, you can at least dip your toes in.
And you know what I would tell you? Don't play the Xbox one or the PS2 one. Get the goddamn remake because it's badass.
The remake is great.
And you're not going to hear me say that very often about playing something on new consoles, but that game is a ripper.
Speaking of rippers, we're jumping up in price. We're approaching $100. Our number 3 most expensive game on the Xbox is Def Jam Fight for New York. A lot of people in our PS2 video goes, I can't believe you guys don't have it. Well, it's because we have it for the Xbox. This game is so stupid, but it's like, this is why I love the early 2000s. Is it's like, oh, you like wrestling and rappers? Let's have them fight. Like, dude, no one would ever make something like this again today. But like, dude, in the early 2000s, they were like, let's just try it. And you get a wrestler and it's built on like actual wrestling like mechanics, I feel like.
Yeah,
so,
it's the developers that did the No Mercy, the Revenge, the WrestleMania 2000 games, and they lost the WWF licensing to THQ.
So then they made a wrestling game with rappers.
They're looking around like, well, how do we make a wrestling game with no wrestlers? Rappers.
Which
Busta Rhymes, DMX, let's fucking go.
Exhibit, I think, is why wrestling.
I can't remember. I mix up all the games. There's 2 games.
There's 2 of them.
Vendetta,
we don't have that one. But I like rap and hip hop, and I like wrestling, but it's just so silly.
Yeah.
But it plays amazing. This game is so good.
It's really good.
But it's $90.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Is it more expensive on the PS2?
I think quite a bit more.
Really,
actually.
quite a bit more.
I mean, they're both expensive.
Yeah.
$90 is kind of where you start getting into what I call like.
Especially for something like this, where it's like it is a good game and they did a really good job with it. But is it $90 worth? I don't know.
It's badass. I don't think it has the legs though. That like if you were gonna spend the money, I would get WrestleMania 2000 or No Mercy on the 64 and call it a day. This is fun. This is definitely fun, but you're not gonna go back to it. I don't think as much, unless you have like a really close friend and this was your guys' jam.
Yes.
Then you will, because we love going head to head on it, and it's really fun. But I can't tell you the last time I played it by myself.
No, exactly. Like, I've never played this through the story mode. And also, like, I don't really have a connection to any of the rappers, so I kind of just, like, pick whoever I'm feeling when we do it, so I don't know theirmovesets. Like, yeah. But I do like playing.
This is a fun game that we will put on when we're just clowning. It's like, we'll look around like, oh, you want to play Blitz? Yeah, sure. Or we played a couple Blitz games. Let's throw in Def Jam. Let's
do it. Let's do a wrestling match of wrestlers.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game.
Number 2 is kind of an obscure release.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh, foreshadowing, if you will. It's a survival horror game, and this is also available on the PlayStation 2 as well. And it's co-op, and you reference the early 2000s, that teen horror clown show horror shit movies that came out that I kind of like, but also they're kind of garbage. That's Obscure.
Obscure
is the name of the game, and that's what type of game it is, and it goes for $93.61.
Yes, almost $100 for this. I always think of this as an Xbox game, though. I don't know why. I know it is on other things, maybe because we just have
it's
it
on PS2. I think it's because we've always just had it on Xbox.
I know
this was
that's why
this was a part of our original Xbox.
We had it since we started the channel, and what's really cool is, if you're a fan of that early 2000s, like B-grade horror, teen movie stuff, and also early 2000s music, the music in this game is by Sum 41.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's another thing where it's like early 2000s, it's like, what? Sum 41, like this alternative punk band, kind of, maybe not punkish, but kind of punk. Music's doing music for a B-grade horror video game. Like, it's this weird combo, but it works. And this game, co-op, is so fun. It takes a little bit to, like, figure out what exactly you're trying to do, and you're like going around, but not a lot of survival horror games are co-op, so that's what makes it pretty fun.
Yeah, very unique. You got to be into that.
Yeah, you got. It's very specific.
You're not gonna play it and be blown away by any of the gameplay mechanics and all that stuff. But if you like survival horror, you like that style of movie from the early aughts. It's fun in a campy sort of way. It's not.
You gotta know what you're getting into before you start it, because it is, when you go back to play it, it is a little dated. And like the controls are a little dated, but so are a lot of survival horror games from this era. But once you get past all that, you can still have a great time. But it's approaching $100, so maybe find a cheaper way to play it if you want to play it.
Whatever that means.
And our number 1 most expensive game is almost double what Obscure was worth.
I can't even believe this. We put this list together, and I'm looking at this price, and I'm like, did we mess this up?
I don't think so.
All right.
I looked it up. And our number 1 most expensive Xbox game is Spike Out Battle Street, going for $175.03. I don't know if this was just a game that didn't sell well, or it's like a rare game or something, but that's crazy expensive. This game is fun, but it's not $175 fun.
No,
because it's very simple.
It's just a 3-dimensional Sega beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Very arcade-like game. I would say, I'm trying to think of a comparison of something that people have played, but I think of a lot of just random games. Maybe if you were like a really big fan of like Dynamite Cop, this game would really strike your fancy. Not with the weapon aspect necessarily, but it just kind of reminds me of that.
Because it reminds me a lot of like those types of beat 'em ups from the Dreamcast.
And it's goofy.
It is co-op, which is so fun. You have split screen, you can kind of separate, but it is just a simple Sega beat 'em up.
This is a live stream game for sure. We haven't done it.
We need to beat this game. I don't know why it's going for so much.
There must be a story behind it. I don't know. I
don't think we paid this much for it.
No, and I'm trying to even draw back to where we got it. I do think we paid up a little bit.
Yeah, but not.
I want to say it was like $60 or $70 maybe when I got it.
Not almost 200.
Yeah, I think I just got it at Jay's. I don't know.
Dang, so maybe just over time it's just slowly
been a while. This is an Xbox exclusive.
Is it really?
I'm pretty
Okay.
damn sure it is. Don't quote me on that,
Okay,
but I'm pretty sure.
And I don't know again if this works on 360 or Xbox One, but if you are a fan of co-op Sega beat 'em ups, definitely try and find a way to play this and check it out.
Yeah,
don't spend $175. Nobody talks about this game. Like a few years ago, we discovered it, and I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah.
So
No, I remember. I think we were together for wherever we got it. I think we were together because we were like reading it, and we're like, "This sounds dope."
yeah, we're like, this sounds so bad, but right up our alley.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our list.
That's our top 10 most expensive Xbox games. A lot of these games were less than $40.
Yeah.
Which if you've been watching the channel, we talked about the $40 rule. And then I already mentioned we have over 100 games for Xbox. These are only 10 of them, so the rest of our collection is less than $30. Dude, you can find so many amazing Xbox games for dirt cheap everywhere.
I bet we would struggle to get to, if we expanded on this list down to 20. I bet by the time you get to 20, everything is under $20.
Yeah. It'd be around the $10 to $15 mark.
Yeah.
So just our list today, the 10 games we talked about, is over $600. And that's because of Spike Out and Obscure.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of the games aren't that. I guess Def Jam was a little expensive, but $636 for 10 games, a little expensive, but the last 5 or 6 games we talked about, they all need to be played.
Yeah,
They're all so fun. But speaking of fun, let's talk about this beer.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Banger alert.
It's winter time. It's the holidays, so we're drinking a barrel-aged Imperial Stout. This is by Weldworks Brewing Company. This is the Median Oche barrel-aged Imperial Stout 2024 edition.
I didn't know this was the thing.
I never heard of this or seen of it before. I think it's their yearly release, like their celebratory yearly release. It looks like a New Year's type of bottle. What do you think?
It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Very rich. So we split the bottle. Obviously, you can probably tell that there's one bottle, 2 glasses here. Very rich, very chocolate forward. Not heavy. A lot of Imperial Stouts weave a lot of coffee in there.
Yes.
I'm not picking up a lot of coffee notes. And it's weird. I don't think it's a dark chocolate. It's like a milk chocolate.
It's like a milk
very
chocolate.
creamy brew. I know on the notes it said something about vanilla pudding. I'm thinking that's what's making it its way to make it seem like more of a milk chocolate flavor. I'm not picking up any real other notes other than the oak barrel. Obviously it's barrel aged. I can taste a little bit of whiskey on the finish, but not a burn.
There's not a burn.
No.
Like this is very smooth, and when we first opened it, it was a little bit chilled, and it tasted like somebody melted down chocolate. And I'm just drinking liquid chocolate. Like I was like,
it's dangerous.
What the heck? And this comes at 12.3%.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. But the more it warms up and the more we're talking and sitting, the more flavor is starting to expand, and I am starting to it's starting to linger in my mouth, you know, and this is really good.
Yeah.
They do mention like on the bottle that there's like hints of orange and all this stuff. I'm not getting that, but this is still
I get a little bit of
still a top shelf beer.
I get a little bit of a fruit scent on the nose. But beyond that, I'm not picking up like any citrus.
Yeah, the nose is really good,
Yeah.
man. Tis the season for Imperial Stouts.
Yeah.
Get in a bottle, share it with a friend, and play some freaking Xbox. You're gonna have a great time.
Absolutely.
Dude. But this beer is really good.
All right, we appreciate you as always tuning in, subscribing to the channel, and man, if there is a console that is affordable, super fun to collect for, Xbox has to be in the discussion for the one to go for at this moment in time. So many great games.
So many great games, and also you can play light gun games.
Yeah.
So that's just a little note.
Side nug. Now get out of here and go find a way to play the Punisher.
Oh, dude,
That's your homework. That is your homework. Go do your homework.
Go do it.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode of the one and only Gaming Off the Grid.